What's up, everybody? Brian here, back again with another video. First off, I got a lot to say about this particular rod today, so I want to kind of just jump right into it. But first, if you like high-end rods and fishing equipment, hit like and subscribe on this video because I got some really cool stuff coming out. I'm going to be doing my 2020 full rod and reel arsenal video coming up in the next couple weeks. That's going to be a banger. I got so much stuff that I haven't talked about. That's going to be some surprises. So if you want to get notified about that video coming out, hit like and subscribe. Thank you. Also, I have a code down in my description for 15% off at Omnia Fishing. They're an online tackle retailer that is based here out of Minnesota. Awesome company, really cool guys. They ship so fast and their prices are good. So 15% off, hit the link, check it out, go through their store. I'm not pro staff or anything, just friends, and they want to give you guys a cool code. So why not? I buy from them. Maybe you might want to check them out too. Okay. Today, we're going to talk about the Legend X 7-1 medium heavy rod. Now, I have a long history of St. Croix rods. I've been using them for years. I've tried everything from the Mojo Bass to the Avids, the Avid X, the Legend Tournament Bass, to the Legend Extreme. And then when these came out, the Legend X, I jumped on these too. And right now, the only St. Croix rods I have left in my collection are 2 Legend X's. And there's a reason for that. The Legend X rods are phenomenal. These are so good. Now I'm going to go over some of the good, some of the great, and some of the ugly with the Legend X line of rods because I've used a few of them. I have this one and I have a 7-foot medium spinning rod that I really like. So let's get right into it. So what's the good on this rod? The good is the Legend X is $400 retail and it's got St. Croix's highest end blank, the SC5. Now, the SC5 blank is extremely light, extremely sensitive. Now, when you say extremely sensitive, what does that mean, right? Everybody's sensitivity scales are different. This rod is actually really sensitive. I've used this on several occasions, dragging jigs, Texas rigging, skipping docks. This is, I would say, out of my rods, this is one of my most sensitive rods. That's why I love using this stick. It's rated only up until 3/4 of an ounce, so it's not a rod you throw heavy lures with. But we'll talk about its applications later. I want to go first off. What's the good? So good. You get the highest end St. Croix blank. The fit and finish is okay. You got to like this weird green color that they picked. I don't know why they picked this color. It's like a, it's not, I don't even know how to describe this green color. It's a strange one. I don't know why they came up with this, but they did. The graphics on it is kind of okay. So the good is you're getting the good blank. There's a lot in the great column. So there's some good stuff. But the great is there's a big list of great things with this rod. I'm going to go number 1. Great. You get Torzite guides. So if you guys don't know what Torzite is Fuji's highest end guide insert material that they make. For a long time, their best insert material was SIC. Still lots of rods use SIC. Forever, the high-end rods used to all use SIC. Then Torzite came along. To buy a Torzite guide train, if you're a rod builder, I think it's around $200. So that's how expensive Torzite guides are. There's not that many production rods that use Torzite. Shimano, if you want to go to Shimano or Loomis, you have to go up to the Conquest series of rods to get Torzite. I know Kistler has Z-Bones that have Torzite. They're also pretty expensive. But St. Croix delivers Torzite guides to their $400 rod lineup, which is very cool. So you can get the Torzite guides on a rod for like $400, which is pretty not really common in the marketplace. And it is a full USA made rod. So it has a USA stamp, which every rod above the Mojo Bass are made in Mexico. Every rod above a Mojo Bass in price point is all made in USA. So you're getting a USA crafted, made rod with Torzite guides for $400, which to me is a good value. I know people might go, oh, $400 is a good value. No, it is a good value when you have Torzite in the equation. Now, I'm not going to go over why Torzite is better than SIC. There's a lot of reasons. Weight, lower friction, strength. Now, go Google Torzite versus SIC. There's a bunch of cool videos that Fuji has made to talk about why these guides are so great. I'm not going to go into it because that'd take another 5 minutes. I already ramble. So, pluses. You're getting the best rod blank that St. Croix makes. You're getting a Torzite guide train for $400. Also, the balance. I got to give props to St. Croix. St. Croix is not known for balance. They're really bad at balancing rods. They always have been. Avids don't balance well. The Legend Tournament Bass series is one of the most horribly balanced rod series on earth. I know there's a lot of people that love their Legend Tournament bass. I've tried probably 7 or 8 rods in the Legend Tournament bass lineup, and I hate them all after a long period of time because you're going to get carpal tunnel, man. Those rods are so horribly balanced. The guide chains are heavy, the tips are heavy, the rods dip every time you, like, I couldn't stand anymore. I got rid of all my Legend Tournament bass rods. I really tried. I know people out there love them. Props to you if you're a big fan of them. You better get your wrist checked in a couple of years by a doctor. That's all I got to say. Now, the Legend X, and anything I say about the Legend X applies to the Legend Elite because they're basically the same rod. The Legend Elite has a full cork grip. The Legend X has a split grip. That's the only difference. They both have Torzite, same guide, same models, everything. So anything I say about Legend X applies to the Legend Elite. Okay, got that disclaimer out of the way. The balance on the Legend X series is fantastic. Because this rod is so light, because the Torzite guides are so light, you can put a lightweight reel on this rod and it's like a toy. I have an Aldebaran, which is the magnesium Shimano reel on this rod, and this thing is so stupid light. I've handed this rod to people at tournaments. I'm like, here, hold this, see what you think. And they're like, is this like a budget Walmart rod, or is this like super cheap? Because it feels cheap and like a toy. But in reality, this thing is extremely light. It's so much fun to use because of how light and well balanced it is. You get almost no fatigue using it all day. It's just a pleasure. I have this rod on my deck almost all the time, even when I got other cool rods like NRXs or Megabass or Expride. This rod is almost always on the deck because it's so much fun to use. So the greats are Torzite, high and blank, the lightness of the rod, and the balance is fantastic. Let's talk about the bad. So the bad is, because this is an American-made rod, made by Americans, the fit and finish is really bad. For $400, you're getting really shoddy guide wrapping and overall fit and finish on the rod. There's nothing special about the build quality in this rod. When you put this rod up to Deamos or anything from Shimano or Megabass, it's like night and day. I've used $150 Shimano Corrado rods where the fit and finish blows the Legend X out of the water. St. Croix, shout out St. Croix. I know it's great that you supply jobs. I know that they bring a bunch of rods, or actually I don't know if they pick them up or bring them, but a bunch of people work out of their house and guide wrap this, like old ladies that don't have other work. They get employed by St. Croix to wrap all the guides on these things. St. Croix, not to hate on the ladies or whoever's wrapping these things, but you got to get rid of them, man. This looks like trash. I'm sorry. You can sit and spin these rods and see the guide train, like, or I'm sorry, the wrappings on the guides, like it goes, it's not straight. I'm used to just such high-end quality from the Japanese rod makers that when I hold St. Croix and I like spin them around and I look at the guide wrappings, I'm like, this is the best we can do as Americans. Like, really, this is the high-end $400 rod making ability that we have. Come on, you gotta step it up, St. Croix. If you're gonna have a high-end $400 decked out Torzite rod, give it the goods on the rod, on the guide chain, man. Like, they put one little strand of like gold, and a lot of times it doesn't line up. It like moves and it's not connected. I'm just sorry. I bag on St. Croix a lot for their fit and finish because they deserve it. It's not good. The rod itself performs fantastically. It's very sensitive. It lives up to its price point in performance, but not looks, man. You got to ignore the really not great quality of the wrapping. It's inconsistent. It's off center. It doesn't look good. They don't make really good cosmetic choices. Like, they use just like the same one color that matches the color in the blank, I guess. I don't know. Not very much thought or effort goes into the fit and finish on these rods. That's my biggest complaint. However, one of the biggest pluses with St. Croix is their warranty. Go to their website. They have a fantastic warranty program. You get lifetime warranty on these higher end rods. So much better than the Japanese companies. So props to St. Croix for having fantastic warranties. The rods perform great. Also, one quick plus on these rods, the cork. The cork on the Legend X is supple and fantastic. It's silky smooth. Not one piece of filler has came out on this rod, and I use the crap out of this rod for the last 2 years. I clean and seal these things, and they are still as buttery, soft, and smooth as the day I got them, and there's not a single piece of cork missing on any part of this rod. So shout out to St. Croix for using fantastic cork on these rods. You get your money's worth there. I like the simple guide seat. I'm sorry, I like the simple reel seat. There's nothing too fancy going on with the reel seat, but the cork is exquisite. You're getting Torzite guides, you're getting an extremely sensitive rod, and you're getting a versatile rod. So let's talk about the applications really quick. This rod has a very soft tip. I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to compare this rod to a couple other rods to show you the action, but this rod has a very soft tip. And what's great about the soft tip on this rod is you can use it for moving applications. This is a great rod to Texas rig. Throw a 1/4 ounce to 3/8 and maybe 1/2 ounce jigs. I would not throw anything higher than 1/2 ounce on this rod. Totally overpowered. But this rod can throw square bills. It can throw spinnerbaits from 1/2 ounce and under. It can throw chatterbaits. I'd say 3/8 is probably its sweet spot for a chatterbait. You can throw buzzbaits with this thing. You can square bill with it. This rod is extremely versatile. So if you want to blow your money on one kind of high-end do-it-all rod for like $400 and you want Torzite, the 7-1 medium heavy Croix Legend X is a heck of a rod. I use this rod a lot for dock skipping. I almost always have like a 1/4 ounce or 3/8 jig on this thing, and I love skipping with this rod because that soft tip and how it's so light, it's just like, this is just such a fun rod to close quarters fish with. It's not heavy. You're not punching mats or fishing reeds or lily pads with this thing, but for docks, rocks, any kind of open water stuff, this thing is great. And then you can just quick throw on a spinnerbait. You can throw on a swim jig. There's actually a really good swim jig rod, especially with 1/4 ounce swim jigs are awesome on this thing. So this thing, the pro column on this rod is extremely high. The negative column on this rod is mostly superficial, so it's very low. So it's just cosmetic stuff. If you don't care how the guide wraps look, if you're not like holding American rods up to a super high standard on fit and finish, then everything about this rod is fantastic. So I'm weird. I like rods that look awesome and perform awesome, because if you're spending this much money on a rod, it should look great. Do you want a Ferrari that performs amazing on the track and has all the bells and whistles technology but looks like crap? No, nobody does. You want a Ferrari that looks badass and goes around the track like a demon and has the best technology on earth. That's what I expect out of rods. So St. Croix, you fall flat a little bit on the fit and finish, well actually a lot, but you make up for it in other areas. So we're going to go over and show some of the action on this rod and then we're out. All right, everybody, so let's compare this Legend X rod with the very comparable rod. This is the 7.2 medium heavy Shimano Expride. This rod is rated up to 1 ounce, so it's a little stiffer and a little heavier than the Legend X 7.1 medium heavy, which is rated up to 3/4 of an ounce. But what I want to really illustrate is how soft of a tip the Legend X really has for a medium heavy rod for action. So I would consider the Expride 7.2 medium heavy is to be a pretty normal medium heavy rod where it's fast. Now they say that the Legend X is fast, but it's moderate. It's almost got a moderate action right up until about here. I'm going to show you why I say this. So I'm going to start with bending it down towards the middle of the blank, and if you notice, the Legend X is a little more bendy. But as we move up the blank, watch how much more the Legend X starts to drop and bend into a more parabolic action. So right there, this is a good illustration of how much lower the Legend X is than the Shimano Expride medium heavy. So these are two medium heavy rods. One's a 7.2, one's a 7.1, but the Legend X is considerably softer. Now, this is a very typical characteristic of the Legend X series of rods. Even the spinning rods are like this, where they have a very soft tip up until about the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. About the 7th guide down is where the really soft tip kind of ends on the St. Croix rod. So that top that top third of the rod is extremely soft. I mean, look at that, how much, I mean, it's pretty dramatic. I think this Legend X series of rods is very unique in how soft the tip actually is. So if you want a medium heavy rod that can be very versatile for moving baits, that's why the Legend X is good at it. You can throw shallow running square bills, maybe even down to like a DT6 on this rod and be perfectly fine. Great for spinner baits, great for swim jigs. So the last rod I want to compare it to is the Megabass, because I got to throw a Megabass rod in the mix, right? It's kind of what I do. This is the Destroyer, USA Destroyer Deamos. So I'm going to put the Deamos, which is a 7 think it's a 7.1. Oh, this is a 7.2 medium heavy rod as well. So the Deamos is known as being a bottom contact rod and really good at moving baits as well. A lot of people use this for swim jigs and spinner baits and the like and chatter baits. So let's compare the two on their actions. So most people consider the Deamos to be a moving bait rod, but can also do bottom contact. It's still less. It's still got less of a parabolic bend than the Legend X. So I'd actually say the Deamos is second best, probably, to the Legend X series of rods for moving baits. I would say if you really want a true medium heavy rod that is versatile and has a smooth, soft tip, I would go with the Legend X. Now the big difference with the Deamos is the parabolic bend of the action of the rod really goes smoothly down to about maybe the 8th or 9th guide. So Megabass is really good at blending its carbon weights, so it gets a really smooth bend. The Legend X doesn't really have a smooth bend. It has a really dramatic bend until about the 7th guide, and then it hits the backbone. So it's got a very soft tip, where the Deamos has more of a action that goes right down the blank. And the curve I'd say is wider on the Deamos, whereas the curve for the bend on the St. Croix is very tip heavy. So it's a soft tip and then boom, blank. Whereas the Deamos is a little more of a gradual, smooth bend. Is one better than the other? If I had to pick one rod to use all the time for versatility, I would probably go with the Legend X, just because of the Torzite guides, and this is a lighter rod than the Deamos. So they're both actually 400 bucks. So if you had to buy one between the Deamos and the Legend X, I'd probably go with the Legend X. It's got a better warranty, it's got better guides, it's got the Torzite, and it's lighter. And it's just as versatile as the Deamos. The Deamos is rated up to 3/8. Oh no, so it's rated up to 1 ounce. So if you need to go a little heavier and you like throwing 1/2 ounce or 3/4, or even 5/8, then you want the Deamos. The Legend X does not excel at those weights above a 1/4 ounce, where the Deamos can do it. So it's a tough choice when you get up into this stratosphere of price and performance. I'd say out of these 3 rods, they're all great. You really can't go wrong with any of them. It's a tough decision. If you're a St. Croix guy, pick up Legend X. If you're a Megabass guy, go with the Deamos. If you like Shimano, go with the Legend X. I'm sorry, the Exprides. They're all really, really, really great rods, but I just want to show you that they are all very different. So actually, let's do the Deamos and the medium heavy Expride, just since I have them both here. This is where the Deamos starts to, I know you can't really see it probably from that distance, but even though the Expride looks a little stiffer, the Deamos still has a more dramatic, smooth bend. Honestly, these rods, when you hold them up to the action test, they're pretty similar. The Deamos is a little softer, and that's about it. So I'd say they're all pretty versatile. You can do a lot of the similar things with all 3 of these rods, but I just kind of want to show you that the Legend X is more unique than these 2 rods in that the tip is extremely, extremely soft. So till the next video, I hope this helps when you're out shopping for St. Croix Legend X rods, and have a great day.